Lawyer's version. Lawyer's version. Khojaly tragedy's burial and cruel act of genocide entered the history of civilization as one of the most awful mass terrorist acts. Khojaly tragedy is the continuation of the bloodiest page of policy of ethnic cleansing and genocide, regularly conducted by Armenian chauvinist nationalists against Azerbaijanis within nearly 2 centuries. This ugly policy, supported by the power circles of some countries, continued during Tsar Russia time in Soviet power, driving of our people from their own lands after the collapse of USSR. Transformation of people into refugees and IDPs was accompanied by mass pogroms. At different times, a total of 2 million Azerbaijanis faced the result of ethnic cleansing and genocide policy of aggressive Armenian nationalists. Aggressive policy started by the Armenian separatists in Nagorno-Karabakh after Azerbaijan got independence led to destruction of hundreds of villages and settlements, murder of tens of thousands of innocent people, drive of hundreds of thousands of our compatriots from their own land. Thus, the tragedy in Khojaly was the most horrible one in the history of civilization, along with the genocides in Hatun, Lidesi, or Redur. The chronology of tragic events. On the night from February 25th to 26th of 1992, armed forces of Armenian militarized groups of Nagorno-Karabakh, with the direct participation of contingent 366 infantry regiment of former USSR Army, deployed in Khankendi, captured the city of Khojaly that's located between Khankendi and Askeran. This was the fact of genocide against Azerbaijani people. Massive fire from artillery, heavy military equipment which started in the evening of February 25th preceded attack on the town. As a result of shooting, massive fire started in the city, and at about 5 o'clock in the morning of February 26, the whole town was on fire. The population of our 2,500 people still residing in the city was forced to leave their homes with the hope to make it to Agdam Regional Sanctuary, which was the closest populated area habited by Azerbaijanis. But these hopes of people did not come true. Armenian armed groups, with the support of military force of infantry regiment that ringed Khojaly, started brutal massacre of civilian population, and the result was 613 persons killed, out of which 63 children, 106 women, and 70 elderly ones. 8 families were totally destroyed. 25 children lost both parents. 130 kids lost one of the parents. 487 persons wounded, out of which 76 kids. 1,275 people hostage. 150 missing during military actions. Tremendous damage was made to the state and private property of citizens. The total damage is equal to 5 billion rubles. These figures are talking about the most violent tragedy of Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, which started in 1988 with the illegal claims of ethnic Armenian or of former Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Republic of Azerbaijan SSR on unification with Armenian SSR. And this was provocation with the obvious support of ruling regime of Armenian SSR, with undisclosed consent and inactive behavior of central regime of Soviet Union. Khojaly primary target. Attack of Armenian military groups to Khojaly was predetermined by the geostrategic location of the town. The town of 7,000 people was located 10 kilometers southeast from Khankendi on the route Agdam-Shusha-Askeran-Khankendi, and had the only airport in the upper side of Karabakh. Khojaly is a historic site of people habitation and still with various memorials of ancient history. There are memorials of Khojaly the back culture of 14th, 7th centuries BC close to Khojaly town. Tuscanes and Islamic Republic of late Bronze Era and early Iron, as well as architectural monuments, Ran Charnel House and Mausoleum of 14th century, various stone, bronze, bronze ornamentations, as well as household items and ceramics were found during archaeological excavations in Khojaly. The population of Khojaly was primarily involved in wine growing, cattle breeding, beekeeping, and corn growing. This was a textile factory, 2 secondary schools, and 2 junior secondary schools. The events happened little after the Soviet Union collapsed. 554 families of Turks Mexitis who fled from Fergana settled down also in Khojaly. In addition, there were Azerbaijani population in Khojaly were deported from Armenia. Thus, extensive construction of range of various big industrial entities of Azerbaijan and other necessary facilities was going on. Some time later, Armenian side admitted that liquidation of Khojaly breached the opening of the corridor linking the settlement Daskeran with Khankandi, and unblocking of the only airports controlled by Azeris was the most priority task of Armenian military forces. Please pay attention to the phrase liquidation of Khojaly breached. These words, which are still used by some, disclose the reason for a massive murder of children and women, the causes for a violent massacre carried by Armenians. Since 1991, Khojaly had been in blockade. Terrorists said that road transportation was interrupted and helicopters were the only means for access. The last civil helicopter flew into Khojaly on January 28, and it was the last one after the destroying of the civil helicopter in Shusha, which terminated lives of 40 people. Since January 2 of the electricity supply for the town had been terminated as well. The town managed to survive only due to braveness and heroism of its defenders. Defense was organized by the local troops, military and soldiers of the National Army, mainly armed with rifles. In the second part of February, Khojaly was blockaded by Armenian military troops and was under artillery and heavy military equipment bombardment on daily basis. Armenians made concrete attempts. The town managed to survive only due to braveness and heroism of its defenders. Defense was organized by the local troops, military and soldiers of the National Army, mainly armed with rifles. In the second part of February, Khojaly was blockaded by Armenian military troops and was under artillery and heavy military equipment bombardment on daily basis. Armenians made concrete attempts. The preparation of the attack started on February 25 when military equipment of Regiment Kenner 66 started to take positions around the town. The attack of the town started with a 2-hour artillery bombardment by tanks, armed carrier and Lazan weapons. Khojaly was blocked from 3 sides and people were trying to escape in Askeran direction. It became clear that it was an insidious threat. Near Nakhchivan, Armenian forces opened the fire against unarmed people. Hollow of Askeran, Nakhchivan became the place where most of the children, women and elderly men, frozen and exhausted in the snowy forests and mountain passages, became victims of the inhumanity of the Armenian forces. This event took place when Ali Akbar Vilayet, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic, arrived in the region with a military mission. On February 25, he met with the government of Azerbaijan in Baku and was to deport for Karabakh on February 27 and then to Armenia. 3 guard parties agreed on 3-day ceasefire from February 27 till March 1, which was also ignored by the Armenians. A similar situation was observed on February 12 during the visit of the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe to Karabakh and then to Yerevan and Baku to get acquainted with the situation in the conflict and to analyze the options for settlement. Namely, on February 12, the Armenian extremists fight Malabeli and Gushular villages of Shusha district, resulted in complete looting and burning down of villages. Only in Malabeli village there were 50 killed, wounded and taken as hostages. Those days, Azerbaijani forces could not make it to rescue Khojaly citizens, as well as there was no chance to take out the dead bodies. At the same time, Armenian helicopters with special groups in white uniform arms for searching the forests for people. Groups living in the forests were shot or taken as hostages and then tortured. On February 28, a group of local journalists managed to get to the massacre site of Azerbaijanis on 2 helicopters. Inside everyone, the whole field was full of corpses. Despite a second helicopter hovering in the air to protect us from the gunfire of Armenian forces, we only managed to escape with 4 dead bodies. On 4th of March, when a group of local and foreign journalists were able to fly over the massacre site, the visions were much worse and terrifying. The dead bodies were exposed to mockery. Majority of corpses had gunshot to the head, which proved that they were finished off. Later, during examination of the corpses, many other evidences were found: scalping, cutting of ears and other organs, cutting of eyes, chopped extremities, multiple found wounding from firearms, and stinging items damaged by heavy technique, as well as a charring of corpses. What was the aim of the Armenian chauvinists and ideologists when committing crime, genocide of Khojaly? The aim was to occupy Nagorno-Karabakh and other Azerbaijani territories, undermine the spirit of our people for independence and territorial integrity. The scrupulous work of Azeri diplomats, the issue of official recognition of Khojaly tragedy and its qualification as an international crime, genocide, was raised in the U.S. Congress. The congressman from India, member of the Committee on International Relations, Congressman Dan Burton, made speech in the House of Representatives and called the Congress for a recognition of Khojaly tragedy as genocide. In the opinion of the congressman, by recognizing the Khojaly genocide, the U.S. Congress would break the long-lasting ISIS silence of the international community on this issue. Starting this speech with the words, "Humanity should know and remember," Dan Burton noted that some members of the House of Representatives called for a recognition of the Armenian genocide, details of which are still unclear, for nothing was mentioned about the ethnic cleansing carried out by Armenians during the Armenian-Azerbaijani War. The congressman was pleased to know that Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe in its latest resolution recognized that considerable part of the territory of Azerbaijan is occupied by the Armenian armed forces, and a region of Nagorno-Karabakh still under the control of the separatist forces. Besides, the resolution expresses a deep concern that military operation and policy of ethnic cleansing carried out by Armenia in 1988-1989 resulted in extensive migration and creation of mono-ethnic territories. The government of Azerbaijan, our citizens, compatriots living abroad, are taking more steps to disclose the truth about Khojaly tragedy to the world. To achieve its recognition as a real genocide, they are writing books and conducting journalist researchers. This tragedy is on the agenda of several countries and international organizations. The attention of the world community is dragged into this issue. The main goal today is to conduct this work in a more regular and consistent manner to achieve political and legislative evaluation of this tragedy. Kamil Salimov, Doctor of Law.